Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am here to review and recap my Big Fat Fabulous Life, episode 7, entitled Chasing the Frenchman. Get it? Chase, as in her ex-fiance, Chasing the Frenchman. Whatever. You guys, this season is lackluster, if I'm being honest. I'm not surprised, because I think the show is a little dry. I don't know, when they give us a 5-minute segment of Whitney and her mom, Babs Bunny, having a food fight with an old brown mushy banana, there's really not a lot going on here. It's not a lot to talk about. So I don't think this review will be long. I'm gonna try not to keep it long because we basically have three things going on here, okay? Whitney's IVF journey, Ashley getting fired as the admin assistant for No BS Active. And if you want to count the 2 minutes they gave us at the end of the episode of Whitney and Chase's meetup, that's it. And the way it's edited, it was just so it's hard for me to break it up, but I'm going to try. So let's start with Whitney's IVF, okay? She's been on this IVF medication for some time now, and it's making her sick, nauseous. She's barfing everywhere, burping on camera in our face all throughout the episode. Anyway, she's taking this medication, you know, after the aforementioned banana food fight she had with Babs Bunny. She tells her mom she'll clean up the mess, and as she's cleaning it up, she starts to like gag. I don't know if it was like the smell of the mushy banana or I don't know, but she goes, she gets sick, you know. Also, it's made her really swollen, and I will say I'm never gonna get on here and talk about Whitney's weight, but I'll say this: in this episode, she looked particularly bloated, and she even told Buddy she's really swollen because, you know, those ovaries are just they're working double time right now. So, you know, she calls up Heather at one point to sort of kind of vent about like if this is what being pregnant and having morning sickness is like. No, thank you. Y'all can keep that. And so when she finally does go to the doctor for her appointment to see how everything's going, he tells her that everything looks great. Her estrogen levels are up, you know, her ovaries are responding, and she's proud of herself that she's been able to take this medication and, you know, follow it so that, you know, this is all working. He tells her that he can see the eggs and that it looks good enough that they can probably do the extraction in about a week. So, you know, she's excited, she's happy. At one point, Buddy comes over to pick his mail up. He hasn't done an address change yet, and Whitney's, of course, perturbed about it and is just writing him to do the change already. He says okay. While he's visiting, she asks him, I should say, if he will drive her to the procedure appointment. It's going to be really early in the morning. She won't be able to drive herself back. And he says, yes, sure, he's happy to do so. Also, anytime she meets up with anybody, she catches them up on what's going on with the Frenchman. So when Buddy's over, he asks her, what's up with the Frenchman? She tells him nothing, you know, they're kind of on a break. She's giving him time because, you know, he got really spooked with the whole, Chase debacle and what happened to him on social media. You know, he just doesn't want any kind of backlash. And Buddy, you know, as much as I give Buddy a hard time for being a baby man, I can agree with him on some things. And he tells Whitney, like, well, you know, if he doesn't cheat on you and get some other woman pregnant, then he's not going to get any backlash. Exactly. Like, if you're a good guy and you're not a cheater, you're not a fuckboy, like, and you treat her right and make her happy, we're all gonna love you, right? So don't cheat, no backlash. I agree. Later on, Whitney goes to get like mani-pedis with Ashley and Heather and Todd, and she catches them up also on the Frenchman, you know, and tells them that she's only heard from him once. He texted her asking how she's doing, and she told him she's just not feeling well. She's been feeling really sick. She hasn't told him about this whole IVF thing. You know, he's freaked out enough. So she just kind of left it at, you know, kind of like, I'm just not feeling good, maybe the flu. So he sent her a voice message just saying like, oh, you know, I'm sorry you're not feeling well. You know, take care of yourself. And she says that kind of sounds like a kiss off, kind of like take care of yourself, deuces. But you know what, maybe there could be some lost in translation kind of thing going on, but you know, that's really all that's going on with the Frenchman. Nothing's going on with him right now. Again, you know, they're getting their mani-pedis, and she fills them in on the good news about the IVF, that it's going well, so much so that she's about to go get the procedure to have the eggs extracted in about a week. And, you know, so the topic of surrogacy comes up. And Ashley kind of shares with the group that she could never be a surrogate. I mean, not for anybody, like not just Whitney, because, you know, she just feels she would be too emotionally tied to the baby, even if it's not biologically hers. Just, you know, having carried a baby in you for 9 months, like you just wouldn't be able to help but to feel emotionally tied, on top of the fact that she'd feel like she'd want to say in the child's upbringing, discipline, where they live. Like, you know, she wouldn't want Whitney to move far away, like, you know, she just would feel too tied to it. And all of these things, Heather, who has agreed, I think at this point reluctantly, to be the surrogate, is agreeing, like, yeah, like, Whitney, you're not going to move far away. Like, you can't move to France now. And yeah, I don't know. You can see that Heather has reservations and doubts, and Whitney isn't really qualming any of them. She's just like, oh, well, don't worry. You'll be, you know, was she calling her Uncle Heather? Did I hear that wrong? Because she wasn't saying, I could have sworn she was saying, you're going to be Uncle Heather. You'll be Uncle Heather. And I was like, why isn't she Aunt Heather? Did I hear it wrong? You guys let me know in the comments below. But she's kind of just, I don't want to say flippant, but just like, oh, you'll be around. But yeah, like I get the say, I'm the mom. If I want to move, I can move. And kind of like it's not a big deal. And Ashley tells her, see, Whitney, that attitude you have right now, like it's not a big deal, is the reason why I couldn't be a surrogate for you, because you don't seem to kind of get the magnitude of what it is to like have a child, carry it, you know, like. And, you know, this might be a little drummed up for this show, but, you know, I can't help but think about, any of you watch You, Me, and My Ex or my reviews? And we had that family, their names, what were their names? Was it Josh and Jennifer's new wife, Chantal? And so Jennifer's ex-husband, agreed to be the sperm donor. And the whole season was them trying to figure out, like, what his role would be, because he's definitely going to be around. And even after the baby is born, and they still didn't know what his role was going to be. They just knew he wasn't going to be daddy, you know, even though he's holding the baby and literally weeping over it. Like, he's tied to this child, but they don't want him to be. It's complicated. I'm not saying having a surrogate who's your friend or your family member can't work. I think it can, but I think it takes a certain person to be able to do that. And I don't know that, you know, if I were Whitney, well, because this is Whitney's stance. She wants a surrogate who she knows, who's a friend, who's a family member, because if it was a stranger, that would feel too impersonal to her. But I don't see why that would be a bad thing, because at one point, Ashley tells Whitney, you know, okay, Whit, like, if you had no other option, if there was no other person, I would. But you have options. And I agree with Ashley. Whitney has the means to find a surrogate and go the Kim Kardashian West route. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, find somebody who maybe has done this before, have them sign an NDA, pay them, you know, $30,000, you know, conceal their identity, no face, no name. It's all private. When the baby's born, the person is gone. And, you know, if you're the surrogate concerned about this child, well, obviously, you know, someone like Kim Kardashian, someone in Whitney's place, like, this baby's gonna be fine and want for nothing. I don't see what's wrong with that. I don't know why it has to be somebody she knows. I'm not saying that's a bad thing or it can't work, but seeing Heather's reservations and hesitations, if I were Whitney, I'd be like, you know what, not a good idea. Because if you're already feeling this way, this could complicate a friendship, confuse the kid. I think Whitney would be better off finding a surrogate who she doesn't know, that she isn't tied to, who couldn't really just be the incubator, the oven. And I don't mean to be crude, but I mean, it's what it is, really. We'll see what happens. I don't think Heather should do it. I don't think she really wants to do it. And side note, also, I'm assuming the same age as Whitney, her late 30s. And I'm not trying to age shame anybody, but, you know, it is more difficult the older you get as a woman to carry a baby. There could be complications, and why not go with somebody who's a little younger. That's just, no, that's just my opinion, but we'll see what happens. You know, Whitney just kind of sits there kind of pouty, like, you know, because she doesn't really like what she's hearing. This isn't the plan. You know, well, Heather offered this, what, 5, 6 years ago? I mean, the offer might be off the table now. And maybe Heather and Whitney need to have that talk, but we'll see. So that's where we're going to leave it with the IVF journey for now. All right, let's talk about Ashley and her unceremonious firing from No BS Active. So last week I had mentioned in my review that I was a little confused on what exactly the understanding and arrangement was. Was this for Ashley a full-time job? Was it going to be long-term? Did she have another job? So we got a few answers, but not a lot of clarity either. So Ashley goes over to Whitney's house to work, you know, as she does. She'll sit with the computer and read the emails to Whitney, and lo and behold, she comes upon the one from the distribution company who wants to work with Whitney in creating the app for No BS Active. Now, we know that Whitney has shared this with Jessica, her business partner, and Todd, but she's failed to mention it to her other, you know, employee, Ashley, who's also her friend. So Ashley comes upon the email about this meeting that this distribution company, I'm calling it distribution company because I don't know the name of this company that wants to do the app, but they want to set up a meeting to go over the details and particulars with Whitney, and Ashley's confused. What app? What's going on? What's this about? And Whitney's sitting there like a deer in the headlights, like, telling us, the viewers, like, I didn't want her to find out this way, like, by reading an email. Well, I mean, she reads your emails. Duh. It's so dumb sometimes, these setups. Anyway, we're going to roll with it. So Whitney fills her in. Okay, there's this company, you know, I'm looking to create an app, and they reached out to me, and, you know, they can create it, and they can also handle all the business admin on the back end. And so Ashley realizes, oh, so I'm out of a job. And she's at first, you know, let her tell it. She's not upset that, you know, there's this app that is sort of taking away her job. She's upset that she had to find out about it this way, because yes, she is technically Whitney's employee, but she's her friend first and foremost. So this is kind of a shitty way to have to hear about this, okay? But then she shares more about how, now this is how I think it happened, because like I said, I wasn't totally clear. It sounds like Whitney was getting really busy with the business end and overwhelmed. It was too much work. So she reached out to Ashley, her friend, who has a background and lots of experience in administration work, and asked for some help. And Ashley agreed to do that. Now, but more work is being generated. And so she becomes like the admin, you know, assistant for No BS Active. But it sounds like she also has another job, because she tells Whitney, you know, Whitney, you begged me to like come and help you. Like when I told you that I got offered a promotion at work, you begged me to stay on. So did she turn the promotion down? I certainly hope not. And she says, you know, you told me, you pleaded with me saying that you needed me, when really you just needed me until you didn't need me. And now you're kind of throwing me under the bus, because you sold me a dream that this would be long-term, that the extra income would help me to, you know, save up money so that I can buy my house. And now like those dreams are dashed. She's bitter. And I get it. You know, on the one hand, she gets business. She doesn't want to stand in the way of Whitney's growth, but also as a friend, you could have told me. And it sounds like Whitney promised that this would be a little longer than it is. I mean, maybe not a forever gig, because this really does sound like a side hustle for Ashley. And it sucks that it's come to an end, but I mean, what can you do? Like at one point, Jessica just conveniently shows up like, hey, girls, and Ashley's just like, oh, hey, you don't mind us. I'm just sitting here getting fired. And, you know, poor Jessica's just kind of caught in the middle. I don't know if they gave her a heads up that this is what was going to be filmed. So she's confused, like, what's going on? And so, you know, Ashley tells Jessica, well, I just found out about this app, and they're going to handle all the business end. So I guess I don't have a job. So, you know, whatever. And Jessica feels bad. She tells the camera, you know, that this is awkward. She feels bad because she can recognize all of the work and help that Ashley has given them. And, you know, it sucks to kind of lose your job. And she never wanted to like hurt her, but like she's caught in the middle because Whitney's just sitting there telling like, you know, I didn't tell you because it's not like a for sure thing. It's not a done deal. Like that's what this meeting is about. But we all know it's pretty much a done deal. And she probably should have told Ashley. So Ashley's going to be a little bitter. You know, she kind of throws these backhanded remarks throughout the rest of the episode. Like when they go to get their mani-pedis, you know, she kind of tells the group like, oh, did you guys hear? Like I got fired. Whitney fired me. Like, because Whitney brings up they're all going to go on vacation. They're going to do this family vacation to Maine, and she's inviting all the friends too. And so, you know, Ashley's like, well, I don't know if I can afford it. You know, I just lost my job. And it sounds like she'll be fine. It sounds like she has a full-time 9-to-5 job and got a promotion that I hope she didn't turn down on Whitney's behalf. And so, you know, it's, like I said, it's the show. It might be a little drummed up drama because, like I said, we got nothing else going on really. So that's it, you know. You shouldn't do business with friends. I mean, that's what Ashley says. Like, this is a learning lesson that maybe, you know, in the future, she'll refrain from mixing business with friendship. It's probably a smart thing to do, so. Okay, let's get to the main point of this episode. The highlight. All 2 minutes of it that they gave us at the very end of the episode. Whitney and Chase meeting up. Okay, so earlier, after the banana food fight with her mom, Whitney told Babs that Chase had reached out to her via text, and Babs was like, really? Why? I'm working on my Babs impersonation. And she's like, oh, well, you know, he's going to be in town and he wants to get a drink and catch up. And she's like, really? Why? And she's got like that, it's definitely Southern, but it's kind of drawn out, right? Because she's, so I never met up with any of my ex-boyfriends. Not intentionally. I'm so close. I feel like I'm close, you know. So Babs is so cute. I love her. So anyway, Whitney does meet up with Chase. She meets him at a brewery, which she says is very ironic because their first date was at a brewery. You know, she seems really calm, cool, easy breezy. She's not nervous. You know, Chase, who's already there waiting for her, who's already finished like his first pint of beer with his, you know, 1970s porn star mustache, you can tell he's nervous. He's like, you know, his leg is like shaking, and he tells the camera that he is nervous to meet up with Whitney because he's afraid she might hold a little animosity, you know, considering the way things ended. But since she agreed to meet up, she must, you know, want to catch up too. No, I mean, maybe she's just being nice, and, you know, maybe she's willing to hear you out is what I would say, because I wouldn't go. If this was real, if they were really in a relationship and he really cheated and had a baby and dumped me, you know, while we were still engaged, I'd be like, no, we don't need to meet up. I'm good. And you're good. We're good. Everything's good. No need to meet up. But like I said, we are trying to rehabilitate Chase's image. So when she gets in, she orders a water, you know. She asks him, like, what brings him to Greensboro. He says work, so I'm wondering, does he still have the bar? Because it made it sound like whatever he does, which I forget and I didn't write down, he travels a lot to, like, measure things or something. I'm totally making that up. See, to investigate, check lines. I don't know. Does he still have the bar? Y'all let me know if he does. She orders a water, and he, you know, she tells him, oh, well, you know, I'm doing IVF. Can't really drink. And he's just like, oh, wow, okay, that's interesting, you know. And she's like, well, I mean, you might be able to relate. You actually have a kid. She doesn't at all seem, well, I mean, I don't, it's hard to tell. I mean, she doesn't seem bitter, but she does keep kind of like bringing it up, like, you have a kid. What about that kid? Oh, yeah, that kid you had. Like, obviously. So he asks her, like, do you want to hear about Aurora? And she's, yeah, sure, you know. So he's like, well, like any proud parent, busts out his iPhone and is showing videos. And Whitney's just like, oh, she's beautiful. She's adorable. And Whitney to the camera says, you know, it might seem strange to people that, you know, she's totally fine and okay with looking at pictures and videos. But, you know, to her, Aurora is an innocent. You know, she didn't ask to be a part of this whole messy storyline, you know, and she didn't do anything, and that's true. Like, and babies are a blessing. And also, it's not weird because Whitney and Chase weren't really in a relationship to begin with. So this really, I don't think, is difficult for her. It's like her friend that had a kid. she's excited and happy for him. And, you know, so that's fine, you know. So, you know, like I said, this is like 2 minutes we get of this, because then, you know, to the camera, Chase says that, you know, he has some news he needs to share with Whitney, that he normally would want to post something on social media, but he doesn't want Whitney to find out that way. And so he feels like he needs to tell her. And so that's kind of what has brought him here and invited her out. And then it kind of ends. So we don't know what it is. But I think we know that he's engaged to a baby mama, ex-girlfriend, girlfriend now. So we'll see, I guess. That was it. Like I said, we didn't really get much of it. This is, you know, mission rehabilitate Chase's reputation. So that's it. Let me know what you guys think. Rate, comment, subscribe. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time for next week's recap and review. I need to come up with like a better like outro. Give me suggestions if you have any. I'm trying to be original here. Anyway, you guys have a good night. I'll see you next time. Bye.